Am I the a-hole for standing on the hatch while cloaked as the Wraith, waiting for the last survivor to approach before closing it in their face? So I was playing Wraith in a match, Yamoka Estate, quite hard fought, and they got me all the way down to one last gen before I managed to start eliminating some of the team. Wasn't hard tunneling anyone over the course of the first 3 gens since I spread hook states up until the last 2 gens left. Anyway, upon hooking the second to last survivor, I immediately cloaked to start hunting for the hatch, which I found. I waited on top of it while cloaked, looking for some sign of the last survivor, Claudette, might be when I hear footsteps coming up from behind me. I immediately close the hatch and uncloak to begin the last chase. After downing and hooking her, we moved to the endgame chat and the Claudette called me a toxic tryhard for closing the hatch in her face. I thought slugging for the 4K was considered more toxic than this. Is my assumption wrong? So I don't think this makes you the a-hole in this situation. You're using the killer's power to your advantage, which the killer was granted. And you're playing the game the way a killer should. You don't owe any survivors the hatch. Like, you don't have to give it to them. You don't have to play friendly. Like, yeah, sometimes it's nice to have a friendly killer who gives you the hatch, but each killer can play the way they want to. Just like survivors, they can play any way that they want to without being told they have to change how they play. I mean, it's happened to me plenty times when I've played against the Wraith and I'm the last survivor, I'm looking for the hatch and old Philip's over there and he's standing on the hatch cloaked. At the end of the day, it is what it is. And unfortunately, as a survivor, there is nothing you can do about it. Although, to the killer, you could close a hatch and give yourself more of a challenge to try and find that survivor and guard both of your gates. I mean, when you're cloaked, you get that speed boost anyway. So, something to think about. But I'm going to say, no, this doesn't make you the a-hole. It would if you stood on a hatch and held the game hostage so the survivor couldn't get in the hatch and you just refused to close it. That would make you the a-hole. But if you've used the killer's ability to an advantage where it's going to help you find that last survivor, I don't think that makes you an a-hole. I mean, it's a play style, do you know what I mean? So yeah, if you're using this to draw out the last survivor so you can end the game with a 4K, then yeah, I think you're in the clear. Am I the a-hole DBD edition? I slugged a 4-man Swift and let them bleed to death. They were all running Putrid Oak, Boil Over, Saboteur, Adrenaline and Breakout. I literally couldn't hook them without them wiggling free. After slugging all of them, they all DC'd. They shredded me in the post-game chat. They were streamers. I went to their stream just to listen. I didn't say anything. They were all bashing me so hard and their chat was agreeing with them. See, that is a tough one because I myself have played against survivors who bring these kinds of loadouts and offerings. And look, it does make the game really hard to finish as a killer. And I think most killers would give up after the 3rd attempt to try and get that survivor to a hook. So I quite honestly want to say no, you're not the a-hole here. I mean, look, if you knew it was a Swift and they brought these perks and offerings on purpose, which clearly they did, they were all stacking it together, then I think you've earned the right to play how you want to play. And if that means that you give up trying to hook them and you just leave them to bleed out, then I think that's valid. And it's happened to me before when I've been on the opposing end, when I've been a survivor and I've thought, hey, let's try this build, you know, because it seems kind of funny. It's happened to me. I've been left on the floor to bleed out and quite honestly, I probably deserved it. And unfortunately, some players do feel entitled enough to say that how you ended that game was bad. But I mean, what other choice did you actually have here? You know, you couldn't get them to a hook. Obviously, you didn't bring a Mori or anything, but even so, you couldn't have Mori'd them until you had them on the 2nd hook stage. So think of it this way. If you DC'd, they would have bashed you for that, okay? Because they were having fun, you know? So DCing would have been one thing they would have complained about. And then it would have been, if you did get all of your hooks and you sacrificed them all, they'd still bash you because they didn't have fun. Their builds didn't work. So I don't think there is any sort of way around this. So in my opinion, I don't think you're the a-hole for finishing the game that way. I just think you came across some entitled survivors who wanted to have fun. They wanted their silly little build to work and it didn't, I guess. They didn't bring Unbreakable. Am I the a-hole for trying to get my 4 Mori achievement? So I did a game with double iridescent Mayas, charged power while they did 2 gens, run after them and kill the first 3, trying to find the last one to get the achievement before he finds Hatch. The guy sees me and just to deny me, he hops in a locker. Fast forward 20 actual minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. 20 real minutes, the guy is in the locker. I could hook him, but I wanted the kill. If I try to pick him up and force a wiggle, during the stun he just rushes back to the locker. Am I the a-hole for considering a giant-sized sweaty D-bag? Am I the actual D-bag for trying to get my achievement? And finally, a last question, just effing why? Why waste 20 minutes of your time AFK in a locker just to stick it to the killer? Why try to ruin the game for everyone involved rather than take the loss and start a new game? Well, my guy, it seems like you've just been involved in a locker standoff. Now, as a survivor main, you can usually tell when a killer is trying to go for an achievement, especially when it's a Tombstone Myers. When they've tombstoned the first 2 or 3 survivors, you can usually tell what's going to happen next. And I think a lot of survivors just want to make it more of a challenge for you, or they feel they want to deny you from getting those 4 Moris, you know? So the way some survivors do counter this is they stick to a generator and they don't hit any skill checks. So the generator just continuously blows because Myers can't actually Mori you if you're in the middle of an action. And I believe that's healing, totem cleansing, generators, window vaults maybe, and also hiding in a locker. Now, it won't happen every game, but some survivors are quite knowledgeable on achievements. I mean, personally, I don't think you're the a-hole here. I mean, if you're literally just trying to complete an achievement, how could that make you the bad guy? I mean, if you're anything like me, then achievement hunting is quite a big factor to a game. You know, it's a huge aspect. You wanna get all the achievements, you know, you wanna show off that you've been able to get everything done in the game. So don't take it too seriously. I don't think you're the a-hole in this situation. I just think, you know, you wanted to get your achievement done and that's absolutely fair. Am I the a-hole for leaving my girlfriend after she helped me with my adept achievements? Wait, what? Hang on, let's read the rest of this before we make any assumptions, okay? I spent most of tonight playing Dead by Daylight with her playing Survivor. I love achievement hunting in the games I enjoy, so I wanted to aim for getting all the Survivor adepts. The first few survivors weren't too bad, but when we got to the last 2, things got awful. Constant matches with toxic killers who would down everyone and then go shaking their head at us. After about 3 hours, I finally finished up my adept and hopped off to play some killer. She's pissed now that I left her suddenly, when she just wanted to do her adepts too. But I wanted to work on my skull merchant skills. Am I the a-hole here? Okay, so when I first read this, I thought you had literally left/broken up with your girlfriend after she helped you with your adepts. And yeah, that would have made you more than an a-hole if I'm honest. But honestly, you left her to level up your skull merchant. I think we both know where we're going with this. But yeah, I do think you are the a-hole in this situation. Okay, so see it from this perspective. Let's say you both go to Starbucks and you know, it's a very, very long line. You're at the back and you know, you're waiting for your turn to get your coffee. And you know, it's long, it's frustrating, you're getting angry, just getting impatient with it, you know, and she's behind you, for example, waiting to do the exact same thing. It's finally your turn, you order your coffee and you get it. And you get your coffee at the time that she should be making her order, but they've made her wait, okay? So then you basically just say, screw this, I've got my coffee, we're leaving. So what does she get out of that? I mean, look, probably unrelated analogy, but yeah, I was just trying to think of a way to explain it. But I'm sure you get my point here. You can't just take your bit and not give back. Like, if she's taken her time to help you get your adepts done, and then she's also had adepts to do, and you've just been like, nah, I'm gonna go focus on skull merchant. then yeah, it definitely makes you the a-hole in this situation. I'm sorry, but if that happened to me, I would be pretty pissed. So yeah. P.S. If you wrote this post, did your girlfriend actually leave you, or, you know, we're curious. Am I the a-hole, or is the Twisted Masquerade unplayable if I don't want to farm blood points? So I've been trying to play the event normally as a solo player since it launched, but all I get are people who are trying to farm BP. Don't get me wrong, I'm totally fine with people wanting to farm BP during the event, but what happened to farming only after 8 hooks? This is one of the more fun events. Wildcards are interesting, and the invitations are plentiful, now that I no longer have to rush to get one like previous events. But all I get are lobbies full of people trying to farm, so I try to work on generators so I can go next. But when the rest of the lobby realizes that I'm not interested in farming, they all target me by sandbagging me and letting the killer down to me. Then pallet stunning the killer and then sandbagging me so the killer can down me again. I love this game, I really do. And this event, along with the previous Chaos Shuffle, are some of the most fun I've had in recent years. But this event and the amount of toxic abuse I've gotten in these games has single-handedly made me lose faith in this community. Am I doing something wrong here? So if I've got this right, you're a solo survivor trying to get on with the game and actually enjoy it and have some chases, you know, get some gens done and actually play the game normally, and you keep getting matched up with people who just want to farm. And look, farming is great and stuff, you know, I like having a little farming game, like especially after I've just been wrecked like 3 games in a row, which happens more than I'd like to admit. But yeah, sometimes a little bit of farming, it's harmless, you know, and it's fun for everybody. But at the same time, I do totally get where you're coming from, you know, I like to just play the game as it should be done, like actually experience some chases, you know, and loops, you know, loops. Now the sucky thing is, you can't tell survivors or the killer how to play, you know, and likewise, they can't tell you how to play because that's not fair, you know, it's you that's playing, so you get to decide how you want that game to go. So I think if you're taking your frustrations out in the community for playing how they want to play, it would make you an a-hole. But I think in this situation, because you want to play a certain way, like you want to play normally, not farm, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't make you the a-hole for sort of stating that. And I think it sort of makes those other survivors a bit of an a-hole for pointing you out and trying to single you out because you don't want to farm, you just want to get gens done, you want to experience some chases and loops and all that. I think that's quite wrong. So with that, no, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think you're in the clear on this one. But you know what? I also see it from the farming survivor's point of view, because when I've played in a Masquerade event, every killer I found has played so seriously. Like it's an event where everyone's meant to have fun, and you know, like you said, they bring in the invitations and like the new items like the Masquerade toolboxes or the flashlights. But I've just found like some games it would just be the same result, you know, I'd get slugged or I'd get tunneled, and you know, it's just not fun. And you know, it sucks, but like I said, I can't tell a killer how they should play. It's not fair for me to determine how a killer should play the game or change their play style, because that's how they've chose. But guys, that is all that I do have for you today. If you are enjoying these videos, please consider liking and subscribing. It would truly mean a lot, and also it'd let me know you guys are actually enjoying this kind of content. Also drop me a comment below and let me know if you have any differing opinions to what I've spoke about today, because as always, I do love to hear your thoughts as well. I try to post weekly where I can as well, so make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when I upload next. And if you'd like to catch me live, I usually stream on Twitch on Friday evenings UK time. Drop by, I'd love to interact with you. But with that, gamers, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video.